A few years ago, I was walking two elementary school boys out of North Elementary. We were headed down the steps towards the row of cars to pick them up. One of the boys pointed across the street and he said, "Hey, my dad lives in that house." And the other boy gave him a look and he's like, "No, he doesn't. Your dad's in prison." The first kid, he got all like red in the face and started sputtering. He said, "No, he got out of prison last week. Besides, at least I've got a dad. You've never even met your dad." Ooh, I could just feel the ache in this other kid's heart. He didn't even know his own father. And this boy, from his perspective, he's like, "Hey, even a bad father is better than no father at all, one that you've never met." Man, I don't know if that's true, but I was thinking about it as I was reading John chapter 1, verse 18. It says this: "No one has ever seen God." I thought about the ache that we carry around because of being disconnected or cut off or blind to the living God. We're just longing to know our Father. We're longing to connect with Him, longing to be in right relationship with Him. And John 1, verse 18 says, "No one has ever seen God." But then it says, "The only God," and this is talking about Jesus, "who is at the Father's side, He has made Him known." If I was going to summarize what John is getting at in the first 18 verses of the Gospel of John, it would be that Jesus makes the Father known. He's the Word. He's the light. He is His glory. He makes the Father known. And this is incredibly good news. This is something I've been meditating on this Advent, that Jesus makes God known. We don't have to wonder, what is God like? We don't have to ask the question, what is God's nature? What is His character? What is His personality? We can look at Jesus. So for the youth at Bahama, we've been studying John chapter 1. We just finished reading the whole chapter. And the next 2 weeks, instead of moving on into chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, I want to challenge every teenager, every youth to memorize John chapter 1, verse 1 through 18. So 11 students have already memorized the first chunk, that first 5-verse chunk. So I think of it as 3 chunks: verse 1 through 5, verse 6 through 13, and then 14 through 18. So think of it in 3 chunks. If you memorize that first chunk, I'll give you one of these journaling notebooks. 11 teenagers have memorized that first chunk. So work on the next chunk wherever you are. If you've done the first 5 verses, work on the next batch. If you've done the next batch, then finish it out. Catch me on a Sunday or a Wednesday and say those verses to me. Let's meditate on these scriptures as we move into Advent. No one has ever seen God, the only God who is at the Father's side. He has made Him known. That is the point. And then moving into the next few weeks, I want to give a quick announcement. On Sunday mornings in Miss Christine's Sunday school class, they are working through some student teachings, which is really exciting to me. Laura Lynn taught, and then Peter's teaching this Sunday. And then I think Owen and then Nellie are teaching about the Advent. And then coming up is a series called Defined. This is asking the question, what does God say? Who does God say that you are? It's by Stephen Kendrick and Alex Kendrick. So this is something that Miss Christine wants to invite any youth to get their own book and work through this. I think it's going to be pretty rigorous for 8 weeks. It's going to be a pretty deep dive into that conversation. So that'll be on Sunday mornings. Let Miss Christine know if you'd like to get one of those books. In January, we'll study the Gospel of John on Wednesday nights, and we'll probably break it up. So we'll be doing a whole chapter every week. So that's like, chapter 1, John chapter 1, or excuse me, John chapter 2, has these headings. Chapter 2, the wedding, Jesus cleanses the temple. Jesus knows what is in man. So if I was challenging you to pre-read, I would say, hey, that's at least 3 days of reading. If you don't already have a Bible reading plan, I would work your way through the next chapter so we're ready to talk about it together. Final announcements. Sunday, we'll have our music worship, our Christmas music worship night. That'll be at 5 o'clock. And so if you're playing in the youth band, get here at 4:30. And then next Wednesday will be our last Wednesday night youth program. We'll have, who is this handsome guy? This is the youth Christmas party. What do you need to do? You need to show up. You need to bring a gift that you've wrapped so we can have the gift exchange game. And then I'll bring some other games. Boys bring some kind of snack that's salty. Girls bring a snack that's sweet. And we'll have a good time. So study the scriptures. Work on memorizing John chapter 1. And meditate. Ask the Lord to speak to you in fresh ways, just like he was speaking to me through John 1, verse 18. And my desire is that through these scriptures and through Jesus, Jesus would make the Father known. No one has seen God, but he would make him known to you.